What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. It is the last day of this very short month, so it is time for us to check out another episode of top 10 brand new completely free to play games that you can play right now during the month of February. Last month January was a pretty dry month when it comes to free to play games, probably one of the worst months we had in a very long time. But this month we got some pretty interesting titles, and also the upcoming month March is going to be one of the biggest months we had so far. So there's a lot of free to play games coming up, and a lot of games to discuss today as well. And as always guys, all of these games are completely free to play right now. You can go ahead and download them on Steam. So without wasting any more time guys, let's jump in and talk all about it. Starting with our number 10, we got American Cooking Simulator. So this is a brand new free to play, pretty wacky physics based cooking simulator game, and it takes that classic cooking simulator genre and turns it completely upside down in the most funny way possible. So basically in this game, rather than using that typical cooking equipments to like chopping, frying or plating your foods, you'll be using different firearms to get the job done. It sounds pretty goofy, but it's actually pretty fun to play around with. Yeah, sometimes you'll be flipping burgers with the shotguns or slice ingredient with the sniper rifles, and at the same time try to serve your customers before they lose their patience. Honestly, there's nothing much to say. It's a pretty fun, chaotic, hilarious cooking simulator game. I would say it's kind of an ideal game if you love kind of like physics-based comedy style of games. For example, games like Goat Simulator. I'm sure you're probably gonna have a pretty fun time playing this. Up next we got Mirrored Phantom, a brand new free-to-play psychological horror game set in this abandoned mannequin factory. I don't usually play a lot of horror games, but this had to be one of the creepiest games that I recently tried out, and it even gets worse when you realize that the reality itself is breaking apart right in front of you. But anyway, in this game, as a player, you will explore this haunted factory, solving different environmental puzzles, and try to piece together this fragmented story while being stalked by these mysterious mannequins. And the game leans heavily into this atmospheric horror and make it a perfect game if you love playing games like Amnesia or Layer of Fear. Pretty cool and short horror game to try out right now, and also having very positive reviews on Steam. And also for some weird reason the game required you to have 32 gigs of RAM as minimum requirements. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but anyway, something you have to keep in mind. Alright, if you're a fan of fast-paced bullet hell style of a shooter games, next up we got a brand new game called Nirvana. It's an awesome looking first-person shooter game that throws you right into this intense mystical world with non-stop action. And throughout the game you will play as this warrior who has awakened with these new powers, with the ultimate goal of taking down this powerful god. And the game blends that crazy fast-paced movement with bullet dodging mechanics, and also an upgrade system that let you customize your abilities. The game got a pretty cool art style with a neon-like visuals and epic boss battles that definitely keep you on your toes. Pretty fun first-person shooter game to play right now, and it is completely single player. You can literally play the game offline if you want, and the game also right now having very positive reviews on Steam. Alright, moving on to number 7, we got a pretty cool indie platformer game called Croak, Crusader's Pain of the Spore, Spectre. It's a pretty fun and quirky action platformer game where you take control of this mysterious doppelganger Toddman on his quest to revenge against Captain Croak. And this game is actually a free prologue or a demo version for their upcoming title, and I believe there are a few games already came out from this series. But nevertheless, this game blends that fast-paced platforming with fluid combat as you leap and dash through these vibrant yet spooky biomes, and along the way you will encounter against bizarre enemies, tricky environmental puzzles, and plenty of hidden secrets that you have to explore and find. Awesome little platformer game with a charming pixelated art style, and the game also can be challenging at times. Despite being a pretty short game, there is plenty of fun to be had here, especially if you're a fan of precision platformer style of games. And also right now the game is having very positive reviews. System requirements are also quite acceptable. You can literally play the game with Intel HD graphics. Alright, moving on to number 6, we got Girls Frontline 2 EXILIUM. Honestly, I personally never heard about this game franchise before, but apparently it's one of the most anticipated games to come out this year. But nevertheless, if you don't know anything regarding this game, it's a free-to-play anime-style tactical RPG game set in this futuristic world filled with war and mystery. And it got that typical JRPG turn-based combat style. So in this game, you play as a commander of an elite squad, so you have to plan your battles carefully, making each character's unique abilities to overcome powerful enemies. The game actually got some pretty deep strategic gameplay mechanics, cool anime style visuals, and an engaging single player sci-fi storyline. And this game is definitely for that anime slash JRPG lovers who love playing tactical turn-based style combat RPG, but I personally find this style of combat super boring. I played the game for like an hour or so, but that is just my personal opinion. Despite that, the game is right now having 90% very positive reviews on Steam, so if you're a fan of anime slash tactical RPG games, this game is definitely worth your time. Alright, moving on, next up we got a pretty cool little party brawler game called Fall of the Stick Knights, and it is one of those games that doesn't take itself too seriously, and that is what makes this game so much fun to play. So it's a physics-based multiplayer brawler game where you and your friends take control of these clumsy stick figure knights and using a mixture of medieval weapons and grappling hook to fight each other in these ridiculous battles. Especially some of the ragdoll physics animation in this game makes every fight more unpredictable, leading to plenty of laugh out moments, and it's a very easy game to pick up and play if you just want to have some fun with your friends and honestly feel like you're playing a pretty fun mobile game at the end. The game is completely free to play right now, having mostly positive reviews on Steam, and you can literally play the game with any type of PC. All you need is just 1 GB of RAM. Guys, if you're looking for a chaotic multiplayer experience with a unique twist, Grapple Galore is a game that you need to try out right now. And this game was on early access for a few months now, but it finally came out in early access. Right now it is available as a fully launched title, completely free to play, and also comes with a bunch of new stuff as well. So this game is basically an arena shooter, but instead of running around like a traditional FPS, you are using a grappling hook to swing through the map, dodging bullets and pull off insane aerial maneuvers against your opponents. There are a bunch of weapons in the game, like typical stuff like pistols, rifles, or some fun explosives like RPGs or grenade launchers, but they randomly spawn in a map, so you have to grab and collect them, and they all comes with a very limited amount of ammo. And the game features a physics-based movement system, which means mastering this grappling hook mechanics is absolutely key to outmaneuver your opponents. It's really fun, fast-paced and unpredictable, and full of hilarious moments. Awesome little party game to play right now, especially if you like arena shooters but looking for something more unique and fun. Alright, moving on to number 3, we got Tribe 9, a brand new free-to-play stylish action RPG with an anime-inspired cyberpunk world and satisfying combat mechanics. The game actually set in this neo-futuristic Tokyo where different factions battle for control. And in this game you play as the resistant fighter engaged in fast-paced combat against powerful enemies using mix of melee attacks, special abilities and futuristic weapons. The game actually got a super fluid movement mechanics, flashy combat, and a single-player storyline that's full of intense movement and intriguing characters. I remember the demo version for this game received a lot of positive feedback from the community, but the full release, well, not so much. Right now sitting on mixed reviews on Steam, but despite that, it's a very cool game to check out right now, especially if you're a fan of RPG style of games or anyone just enjoying a good single player high energy action game. Alright, moving on to number 2, we got Garten of Banban 0, the latest entry in the popular horror game series, and this time we are going all the way back to the beginning. And if you're a fan of horror games, you're probably familiar with this series. There are a bunch of games already came out, and some of them are free, some of them are paid, but this game takes place before the events of the previous title, letting you explore this eerie kindergarten now completely abandoned. And throughout the game you will need to solve puzzles, uncover the dark history of the place, and also avoid terrifying creatures lurking in the shadows. And the game actually does a good job of mixing suspense, environmental storytelling, and also a couple of jump scares that definitely keep you on the edge. If you're familiar with the series, you're probably already playing the game by now, but if you're someone new enjoying psychological horror with a bit of a mix of puzzle solving, this one is definitely a solid choice. Alright, before moving on to the number 1 spot, I want to mention a couple of awesome first-person shooter games that came out, and I feel like it's worth mentioning. First one is the Spectre Divide, awesome 3v3 tactical first-person shooter, finally launching on consoles for both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Alongside that, a brand new Season 1 that you can play right now on PC as well. And also yesterday we got the chance to get our first hands-on experience with the upcoming free-to-play first-person shooter title Splitgate 2. It is hands down one of my most anticipated games in 2025, and right now they are launching its first open alpha test. You can actually go ahead and download the game right now on Steam. Just follow their Steam page. All you gotta do is simply request access and you'll be able to download and play the game right now for completely free. Alright, moving on to number 1 spot, we got the brand new co-op campaign that recently dropped on Delta Force called Black Hawk Down. We all knew it was coming this month, but they kinda surprised all of us for dropping everything for completely free, because most of us kinda expect this was going to be a paid DLC. And this is a remastered modern take on that classic campaign, bringing that intense squad-based combat that made the Delta Force series so special. And let me tell you man, this campaign is completely different from the typical multiplayer game that we used to play for like the last 2 months. It is super hardcore, super realistic. There's literally impossible to complete the whole campaign by completely playing solo. The game is literally encouraging you to team up with your friends or a random squad to complete the campaign. And I recently seen a lot of mixed reviews saying that the campaign is way too difficult, way too tactical, and they should reduce the difficulty to encourage solo players. But I personally like this new approach, more tactical, more hardcore, and has a huge replayability value, especially if you're playing with your friends. And also something you have to keep in mind is that this single player campaign is running on the brand new Unreal Engine 5, meaning you need to have a super demanding PC to play this. FPS on a very playable frame rate. It is completely different from the multiplayer portion of the game. Anyway, it's really awesome that they release it for completely free for everyone to enjoy. I haven't really had a lot of time to play the campaign, but I will definitely going to complete it later down the line. Well, there you have it guys, 10 of the best brand new completely free to play games to play right now during the month of February, and the next month March is going to be one of the biggest months we had so far, so definitely stay tuned for all the brand new upcoming free to play titles. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel as we cover pretty much any content related to free to play games. I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Stay safe.